We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your daily morning show where we bring you the latest on everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about whether or not you should be buying Bitcoin right now on this dip. As you guys will well know, Bitcoin is currently about $10,000 under its recently traded all-time high of 73, set late last week. Today, many of your favorite markets are on a sharp correction from that high that was set 8 days ago. And today we're going to talk about how you should approach this exact moment in time and whether or not you should be investing even more right now. So let's go ahead and read some chat and we're going to get started. Guys, we've got a lot to cover. So let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Let's go ahead and read chat, guys. I really appreciate all of you for tuning in. We've already got over 125 people watching. Thank you guys so much. Drian12_1 said, Jeb, I want to buy my first home for me. Please. I believe that you can do it. You've got a lot of work to do because homes are the most expensive thing that the average individual will ever purchase. But I do believe that you are going to be able to do it so long as you are wise with your money. Remember, guys, the fruit of wisdom is many things. Chiefly among them is riches and the ability to love. But it is also riches and honor and many other things. Wisdom will bring all kinds of fruit should you follow her. Sean O'Brien is in chat, said, Friday. Indeed. Joe Bollier is in chat, said, good morning, Jeb. Jason Berry is in chat. Crypto Freddy is in chat. Happy Mac is in chat. Philly Skills 1428 said, good morning, Jeb and Crypto fam. Grand Roofing Incorporated is here today. We've got your boy 91, Bob Riley, Alex Nibo, Bear Freedom, Crypto Guy A1, Dolly Mama, Bryce Hood, Chewy Cat, Mr. Mind, Justin Powers, Phaedrus is in chat, Arslan is in chat, Christina Del Toro, Godly Hands, Raul de Jesus Cruz is in chat. It said, morning, Jeb, from Puerto Rico, mi esposa's homeland. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful country. I just did a coaching call with somebody last week. Well, I've met with him a few times now, but he just moved his business down to Puerto Rico, so that was pretty cool to hear. Taxes down there apparently are very, very beneficial if you are an entrepreneur. If you take a chance, can you take a look at AMP? We very well may do that. Alex Caimana's in chat, said, morning, Jeb. You're awesome. Said, hola, señor Jeb. Hola, señor. You are awesome. ¿Cómo está, mi amigo? All right. Paul Grayley is in chat, said, good morning, Jeb. I'm excited. I'm excited. I love Fridays. I love Fridays. I also love Mondays. I love every day of the week. But, at least I normally do. Obviously, I'm human, so sometimes there are days that I don't like. But, one of the reasons I like Fridays is because Friday is the day that all of my automatic dollar cost averaging purchases go through. And my crypto portfolio grows. And it's a very, very exciting day. And today is a good day to have dollar cost averaging go through because we have had prices slash. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Love to see the blood in the streets. I'm so sorry for anybody who went into a lawn. I told you not to. I don't mean to rub it in your face. I'm just saying, please be careful. All right. Bitcoin's trading at $63,300 right now. That is close to a local bottom on this corrective movement. We did drop down to about 61 a few days ago, so we're not quite at the bottom. But it has been a pretty considerable drop. Ethereum trading at $33.49, down 5% in the last 24 hours, down 10% in the last 7 days. Solana down 10% in the last 24 hours, currently trading at $169. These are starting to look like very solid entries, and once again, I'm very excited that we are at these levels today, because today is DCA day for yours truly, and if you followed our counsel, it is probably DCA day for you as well. Cardano currently trades at 60 cents. It is down 15% in the last 7 days, down 4% in the last 24 hours. Not really too concerned about Cardano, guys. Cardano is going to do well. A lot of people are hating on his TVL. Just remember, guys, a lot of the layer 2s that were built on Cardano were built during the bear market, so they didn't have the ability to get mass adopted during the bull market. If you look at Cardano over here on DeFi Llama, its decentralized finance, its TVL, has grown pretty substantially over just the last couple of months. Ever since October, it grew from 157 million all the way up to a local top of 520 million. Now, that's not in the billions, and it doesn't quite catch up with Solana's TVL growth, which has obviously about 10x'd during the same time. But Cardano still has 4 or 5x'd, or about 3 to 4x its TVL in a similar period of time, which is a very, very good sign. And also keep in mind, guys, that there are a lot of projects over here that are starting to gain a lot of traction. I was just on a call with somebody yesterday, and they were talking about Liquid, how they're using Liquid for their liquid staking. A lot of these protocols are starting to gain a good degree of adoption. LINK, for example, is up 59% in its TVL in the last 1 month. Optim Finance up 73% in the last month. Spectrum Finance up 78% in the last month. There's a lot of competition here, but I do think some of these projects are going to start doing very, very, very well, especially some of these ones up here that are starting to get into the 100 billion TVL. Indigo could go vastly farther beyond where we are right now. And also the other thing to keep in mind is that since Cardano has a tenth of TVL of Solana, technically speaking, that means that when Cardano does go to $4 billion TVL, which I think it will, then we're going to see the rally from that, which means that has already happened on Solana, so you missed it because you don't have a time machine last I checked. Now, I mean, I haven't been to your house lately, but I don't think you do. Tell me if you do. But Cardano hasn't done that yet, but I do believe it will. I believe you'll see $4 billion in TVL on it at some point in this bull market. Will it keep up with Solana and TVL in this bull market? I'm not sure. I'm willing to bet that the answer to that question will be no. But our price target on Cardano is still significantly lower than our price target on Cardano, on Solana. I'm expecting a $200 to $250 billion, maybe up to a $300 billion market cap at the peak on Cardano. I would start selling and taking profits on Cardano around the $100 billion mark. I think that Solana could go to $500 billion. So even though Solana is a bigger project, Cardano, I think, potentially has more room to run. Solana has already gone to $90 billion. I think it will probably go to about $400 to $500 billion, higher than Cardano, but it's also closer to that all-time high prediction that I'm making than Cardano, which means that there is a greater reward possibility in Cardano, but of course there is a greater risk profile in Cardano, which is why I weight them relatively similarly, with Solana taking a bit of a slight edge because I like a lower risk, lower reward entry. I consider Cardano the higher risk investment of the two right now because it doesn't have as many proven technologies built on top of it that are being mass adopted yet. But I think the risk-to-reward ratio on both of them is comparable, even if it may be slightly in favor of Solana, considering the amount of adoption and development that it has already gone through and the amount of adoption on the layer 2. Remember, when you're picking an investment, you don't just look at the X factor, otherwise known as the reward portion of the calculation. It's not just, oh my goodness, if Cardano goes to $8, then it's going to 15x. You also think about the risk. The risk is higher on Cardano than on Solana because it doesn't have as many well-funded, well-adopted layer 2 technologies that are contributing to the TVL and the network activity just yet. So when you factor those two together, they would roughly balance out in risk-to-reward factor, I think, with a slight edge going to Solana. When I made my top 10 altcoins to pick, I had to put Solana above Cardano simply because Solana already has a lot more traction in the layer 2 ecosystem than Cardano does. But I still think if you're in Cardano, you're going to do pretty well in this bull market. I think all-time high returnal, making up words here. Goodness, been a long day. All-time high return on Cardano is very much likely to happen. Let's put it that way. Now, Chainlink is down 10% in the last 7 days. This is another cryptocurrency that I'm quite confident will go back to all-time high. Chainlink is an incredible project. It's doing a remarkable job of integrating itself with everything in the cryptocurrency space that it possibly can. All-time high is only 22 billion. It's at 10 billion right now. That is a doubling of your money, almost guaranteed, about as close to a guarantee as you're going to get in crypto for a 2x. Great project, putting money in there. Uniswap, putting money into Uniswap. ICP, still investing in ICP. I think it'll end up doing very well this bull market. Cosmos is going to take off. Guys, the alt season is not here. A lot of people are thinking, oh my goodness, is the alt season here? No, it's not. Right now is the season of Bitcoin playing the role of Lewis and Clark, going and exploring new territory. And then all these altcoins are the settlers. They're going to come in and backfill the space. This market, Bitcoin, is Lewis and Clark. Ethereum are the railroads. The rest of this are your Targets and your TJ Maxxes and your Walmarts and Walgreens coming in and building out a society up there at those new all-time highs. Guys, we're going to $10 trillion in market cap, maybe not this bull market, but eventually, and it is going to take a massive effort on the part of hundreds of different projects and protocols and companies to build out an ecosystem that can support $10 trillion of market capitalization and $1 trillion a year or more of volume and commerce. So the winners of that have mostly already been created, and they're sitting right here in the top 100. I would rather you invest in Walmart 20 years after it was founded, as much as I do not like Walmart. Oh my goodness, I was just on a rant this morning with my wife about how much I do not like Walmart. Drop a 1 in chat if you want to hear my anti-Walmart rant. Who wants to hear that? Probably no one. There's probably going to be a bunch of zeros saying, no, Jeb, please, for the love of God, don't go there. If you want to hear it, I'll tell you. Anyway, I would much rather you invest in, let's see, what's a company that I actually like? It's kind of hard to think of one. Let's just say Apple. Not the biggest fan of Apple either, but let's just say Apple. I would much rather you invest in Apple 20 years after they're founded. But Jeb, you missed the beginning. But hang on. I would much rather you invest in Apple 20 years after it was founded in the height of, right before it started going bankrupt and they had to partner with Microsoft back in the 90s. I would much rather you invest right there at that top and then it crashed 50%, 60, 70, 80% and then have to come back than to buy into a company that was claiming to be Apple, but it was only a year in and then it crashed and went to zero and never returned. I would rather you invest in a project a little bit later and wait 5-10 years for it to be established and then put your money in and still get a 10x, a 15x, a 20x over the course of the next decade than invest in something that claims to be the next X, the next Y, the next Z. That's kind of confusing because now there actually is a company named X and surely there will be one named Y and Z before long. But I'd much rather you invest in proven technology that may not have a 200x factor, but it's got a much less risky 10 to 20x factor. Because if you can 10 to 20x your money, my friend, you are what we call either a lucky investor because you did it once or a pretty good investor if you do that over and over again. So most of those projects that we're talking about are now created. They're good technology. They are adopted. They are being pulled into the ecosystem. Chainlink is one of them. Uniswap is one of them. Cardano and Solana are one of them. Binance is one of them. You're going to have a hard time going wrong on any of these. HBAR, a lot of these projects are VeChain. A lot of these projects are being pulled into the overall cryptocurrency ecosystem. And they have Aave is another one. I've been putting money on Aave. Jupiter. These are projects that have been pulled into the ecosystem, and a few of them may go to zero, but most of them are going to rally at least a little bit. Now, let's talk to chat for a moment, and then we will continue on. Shadrach Frost said 1. Marcus B said 1. The reason that I'm so annoyed with Walmart is because Sam Walton, the guy that founded Walmart, was a good Christian fella, from what I can tell from my historical research. The guy really did genuinely care about the middle class being able to have a prosperous life by affording cheap products. He really did genuinely care about that. They found Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, and the guy that they named Sam's Club after. That's why it's called Sam's Club. Sam Walton. Sam's Club, Walmart, from Walton. That's where the names came from. Sam Walton. They found Sam Walton in a grocery store in Brazil on the floor with a tape measure one time, and they arrested him and threw him in jail. And then he's worth $100 billion or so at this point. Maybe $50 billion, whatever. The company was already the Walmart that you know. I mean, it was already one of the biggest companies on the planet at this point. He himself, he didn't send somebody to do this. He himself was on the floor in some random grocery store on the ground in Brazil with a tape measure, measuring the distance between the aisles so he could grab that information and go back to America and learn from the Brazilians on how far apart they spaced their shelves so he could maximize the amount of floor space that was being used in his stores. This man was in his 50s or so. He flew to Brazil, got on the ground with a tape measure, and was measuring the distance so he could maximize efficiency so that he could keep the cost as low as possible for the end customer. Now, the philosophy with Walmart and many other companies is just screw the customer service, make sure everybody has a terrible time and slash prices that way and cut corners. Absolutely, absolutely sad. Apparently, you removed comments when that person is proud of sharing their success due to learning from your info. Matt Gonsalve, that was definitely not me. YouTube removes comments sometimes. If you had something to say on that, please do say it again. I definitely did not remove any of those comments myself. To be honest with you, I need to remove more spam comments, but I guarantee you I did not remove that comment. If you have a praise report, I absolutely want to hear it. Absolutely want to hear it. All right, let's read a little bit of chat. PT said, Jeb, the people's champ. I don't know about that, but that's what I'm trying to be. Buying Sol right now is a huge opportunity. It is a huge opportunity. It is a big risk, too, because it's already rallied a lot, but it is a good investment, in my opinion. We have a nice little preview of alt season, but not a full alt season. If you're at a bear market, you have made money in alts. Yes, that's right. We've already made money in alts, but it has not even started to take off just yet. Is crypto in danger if Ethereum gets labeled security by SEC? No, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is at this point too big to crush into the ground, but it could mean things are different. Now, here's the problem. The SEC does not have executive, judicial, or legislative authority to label anything a security. That is not their job. You can apply the Howi Test to a lemonade stand and have Gary Gensler come shut down your 8-year-old's first entrepreneurial adventure. The Howi Test was created in a certain era to try and define whether a stock was a season. All right? So the fact of the matter is, they do not have the authority to decide whether or not something is a security. That is not their job. That is Congress's job when you have an entirely new space, and it is the judiciary's job if there is a confusion. And right now there is a confusion because there has not been legislation. So until there is legislation, the courts have to work it out and create de facto laws. They're called de jure. Excuse me, they're not de facto, de jure rulings, which basically means of jure. Jure is Latin. It means justice. It is the same root word that we get the word justice from. De jure means of the judicial system. De facto means of fact. For example, de facto, it is, if you drop something, it's going to fall. De facto, it is going to fall. It is a fact of fact. It is going to fall because there's gravity. It is a fact. It is not, murder is wrong. Like, this is a de facto thing. De jure is what happens, and it also it's along the same lines of legal precedent. There is precedent that is being established in the court systems right now about what is and is not a security. Right now, until Congress steps in and actually starts giving us some definitions for these things, the judiciary is the branch of government that has to come up with these decisions. And the judiciary has not, and for the most part, when something comes before the judiciary, between the SEC and at least large corporations in the cryptocurrency space, the judiciary almost always, for the most part, sides with the cryptocurrency space, because the Securities and Exchange Commission is standing on a very flimsy pedestal of authority to claim that any of this is securities, because the Howi Test was created 90 years ago. Could you imagine trying to run Bitcoin on a computer from 90 years ago? Oh, wait a minute. Computers didn't even exist 90 years ago. All right, I know one of you is going to say, well, Jeb, what about Turing, and what about all the stuff that he built? That was in the 40s. The Howi Test is from the 30s. Well, what about, what's her name? I forgot. Somebody's going to tell me. What's her name? First computer programmer. Lovelace? Was that her name? I'm trying to remember Ada Lovelace. What about Ada Lovelace? And the world's first computer program. That she was born in 1815, right? Well, what about that? Yeah, could you run Bitcoin on any of her contraptions? They were very cool, and I do not want to take it away from her. She was an awesome scientist. I am a scientist at my heart. I wanted to go into astrophysics. That was my dream from a child. So all power to her for what she did, but you can't run blockchain on that, man. There was no way that you possibly could have predicted that this was going to be a thing. This entire contraption we call the internet was going to be a thing. There was no way to predict that you were going to be able to go on YouTube, start a YouTube channel, 7 years later, work with a giant company, build your own technical indicator called the Crypto Jeb Oscillator, and then share it in front of 75,000 people a week. There's no way to be able to predict that any of this was going to happen. The Howi Test did not take any of this into account. And anybody with half a brain cell is going to realize that the Howi Test was not designed to tackle the question of cryptocurrency, because if a cryptocurrency is following the principal ethics of blockchain, it will be decentralized, which means you cannot issue it a subpoena, which means you cannot sue it in court, which means it makes no sense to demand that the entity, which is not even supposed to exist because it is decentralized, should provide financial documentation on the state of the company, which, by the way, shouldn't exist either. Are we making sense here? Am I making my point? It is complete and total hogwash. It is what we call asinine, stupid, and dumb to try and claim that the cryptocurrency space would make any sense being regulated via securities law. Should there be regulation? Yes. Is the SEC in position to do that? No. It is not at all. Jeb wants to get rich when he's 90 with these soft, low investments, Josh Andrew said. Josh, my friend, so how shall I say this? I have probably, in my career, I've made about $5 million. And I'll tell you what, because I was too risky with it, and because I was too dumb with a lot of it. I didn't have a written plan for it. I was not living below my means. I was not investing and saving and building wealth with it in a responsible way. I ended up squandering a few of those millions. Now, we're still doing very well, don't get me wrong, and our wealth is growing a lot right now. I mean, our wealth is going, we've grown like 50% in our net worth in the last like 90 days. Okay, so we're doing really well now, but I tell you what, I had to learn some hard lessons. If you are anything like the average American, I have probably wasted and been stupid with more money than you have ever seen in your life. I'm not trying to talk down to you. I'm just saying I have been there, done that, got the flipping postcard, man. I used to spend $3,000 a month eating out. That was how stupid I was with money. And then my awesome, beautiful, lovely, amazing wife came along. And she said, when you get married, your wife is going to save you thousands of dollars because you won't be eating out every night. She'll be making you food. And my wife is a Puerto Rican, and I tell you what, man, that lady can cook. You guys are going to be meeting her soon. Yeah, I tell you what, my wife can cook. All right, I have wasted so much money from being too stupid and risky with it. And what I've come to realize is that 100 to 200% in a year or two is still a whole lot of flipping money. And and what you've got to realize is that if you don't calculate the risk, then what ends up happening is you're only looking at the reward and you're looking at the market through a set of rose-tinted glasses. You have to calculate the risk and the reward. Investing in anything requires to do it right, because I'm for doing things with wisdom. Arroz con pollo, muy delicioso, sí. Arroz con pollo. Amarillo arroz con pollo, sí. When can we meet Sarah? Well, we've got a plan for that, actually, so stay tuned. But anyway, my point is here, I was very risky with some of my investments. And also, I just spent way too much money, guys. I'm going to be honest. We had a lot of overhead that we didn't need. We just didn't need. It was silly. We weren't running things by the 6 laws of money. The reason that I have become so disciplined and so particular about the 6 laws of money and the financial sovereignty way, which you guys are going to be learning more about this year, the reason I have become so particular with it is because I have been dumb with more money than most of you guys have ever seen. I mean, I'm not trying to brag. I just want you to know the testimony. This right here. This is a $1 million in revenue reward for the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. I make all of my money with all integrity. So I'm not ashamed of that, man. We've provided that much value. People have made collectively probably tens or hundreds of millions of dollars with what they learned from CT2A. So I'm proud of that, not for my sake, but I'm proud for the people that went through it and learned something. So many of you guys have gone all the way through it. That's just been one of our revenue streams. But I tell you what, I have been so dumb with it. And this is where I can take it back, and I'm okay talking about this because of what I'm about to say. I was freaking dumb with that money, man. I was stupid with 5 years ago. You know what my idea was? My idea was I make a bunch of money. I just won't spend much. I just won't spend that much. I'll just be like, I'm just going to not spend much. That was my whole plan for budgeting and saving. That was absolutely stupid. That was absolutely dumb. I say again, I have been dumb with more money than the average American has ever seen in their entire life. And you know what that does to you? That makes you just think, oh, I just really don't want to do that again. God, I don't want to do that again. Man, Kellum, I just saw a thing, because I'm friends with him on Facebook. I just saw a song that he made. He used to work with us on the channel. Kelly has a lot of cool stuff going on over on YouTube. He tells this story publicly all the time, so I don't feel bad sharing it. He says, man, I got into the crypto market. I started leverage trading, and I was doing great. And then you know what I did? $73,000 into a long, lost all of it, lost my life savings in one trade. He said, I'd spent $73,000 on an education in cryptocurrency. Guys, I've spent millions of dollars on an education in being dumb and the way to not be dumb again in cryptocurrency. I have learned my lessons. I have learned the hard way. I get the picture eventually. I have been stupid with more money than most of you guys have ever seen in your entire life. And I'm not talking down to you on that. If anything, I'm trying to say that in a humble way to say, listen to me, guys. I have had to learn these things the hard way. So when I tell you, it is not a good idea to bet the farm on a 100x potential altcoin, and you don't have a budget, and you are not living below your means, and you have not gotten out of high yield consumer debt, and you do not have a savings plan for retirement. I am speaking from experience because I have been stupid with more money than you've probably ever seen in your entire life. When you are stupid with the amount of money that has 2 commas on it, not just 1, but 2 commas on it, you learn a thing or two about how to be good with it. And I tell you what, we have been really good with money lately. We have gone deep into the Bible. We have gone deep into what very rich, very wealthy, very old people that are much older and much more wise than I say about money. And I find that they say 6 things. The Bible and the people that have been around the block longer than I've been alive, they were making $1 million a year before I was ever born. They all say 6 things. I call them the 6 laws of money. The first law of money. The first law of money is financial sovereignty. The definition of financial sovereignty, very simply, is to be below God, above creation, in control. That is the definition of financial sovereignty. What do I mean by that? Genesis chapter 1, verse 28 says, "And God blessed them, and God said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth." Now, I said that quickly. I'll explain it. The verse before, God created mankind. A few verses before that, God created the heavens and the earth. So this is the first chapter of the entire Word of God. After verse 27, where God creates humankind, the next verse, the very first thing he says is he blesses them because he loves us. And so he expects us to love others because he loves us and he wants us to share that. So he blesses us to be a good example to us and because he loves us. And then he says, be fruitful and multiply. That means get married, get it on, build a society. That was the first commandment given to mankind. The second commandment and the purpose of building a society is in the rest of the verse, and subdue it. It is referring to the earth that was just made. Subdue creation. Subdue everything that God just made. Be the ones that are sovereign and kingly and in kingly authority over that creation. And have dominion over the fish of the sea and the fowl of the air and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. That means that we were given the ability to have dominion and kingly authority over the animals and the creatures of the earth. Now, to be clear, the Bible also says that it condemns when you abuse animals. So if anybody thinks that you're going to have biblical authority for abusing animals, that is strictly condemned in the Bible. So I just want to clarify that for like the one of you that thinks that people will use the Bible to beat their animals. It specifically says that that is a horrible thing to do. It's a wicked thing to do to abuse your animal. Okay, it talks about that in Proverbs. Let's just be clear on that. Having kingly authority doesn't mean that you are Adolf Hitler to your animals or to creation. It means that you are lovingly and blessingly stewarding and growing it. Matthew chapter 5, verse 3, Jesus says, "And blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." When we are meek, we are in submission to another person's idea of how we ought to do things. Blessed are the meek, who are meek towards God and do things his way, and we will inherit the earth from our Father on high. We are to subdue and have control over the earth, and we inherit it from God on high when we manage it his way and we meekly submit to what he says about the earth. And that's where the other 5 laws come into play. So financial sovereignty is the first law of money. We're to be in control, under God, above creation. If we do that, then we will be following the first law of money and the first law of possessions in general. The second law of money is to live below your means. It is a fool who eats everything that he has and has none left over. That's what Proverbs says. In general, if you spend more money than you make every single month, then what happens is you are either draining your savings and draining from your wealth, or you're having to go into debt to finance that. It is a fool's errand to live on more than you make. My dad always taught me, if you make 100, live like you're making 80. If you're making 90, live like you're making 75. That was the way he would explain to me when I'm 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That stuck with me. That was a very good lesson. It was one of the laws of money that he was teaching me. I'm very thankful for him for that. Second law of money is always live below your means. At any point in time, you ought to be in profit every month. Number 3, have a written plan. Jesus says it is a fool who goes out to build a tower and doesn't count the cost before he does. He gets halfway up the tower, runs out of money, and everybody mocks him and laughs at him and calls him a fool because he didn't actually sit down and count the cost. He didn't come up with a plan before he built the tower. And so he looks like an idiot. And everybody mocks him and laughs at him because he didn't sit down and write a plan. Fourth law of money, get out of debt ASAP. The quicker you are out of debt, the quicker you are in financial sovereignty and in control over all of your wealth. If you are in debt to anybody, then they control that portion of your life, and that is a very spiritual, is a very financial and practical and logical reality. Number 5, we want to save, invest, and build wealth. If you do those 3 things, then you will have a trajectory that is pointed in the upward direction. And number 6 is the final law of money and is the ultimate goal. We want to be radically generous with money because the Lord and many other people in our life have been radically generous with us, and we want to give back. 1, because that's where true joy comes from, and 2, because when you're nice to people, they generally are nice to you back. Right? 6 laws of money. FinSov, live below your means, have a written plan, get out of debt ASAP, save, invest, and build wealth, be radically generous. If you do those 6 things with money, notwithstanding oppression, notwithstanding circumstance, notwithstanding you are born into slavery, or you were oppressed and you were a slave, because there's more slaves on planet Earth today than there ever have been in the history of mankind. In case you didn't know that, that's a reason to be generous and to get your finances right so you can help fund the people that are trying to solve that problem. When you are generous, people are generous to you. If you do those 6 things with money, notwithstanding oppression or circumstance, you will be successful with money. Guaranteed. I guarantee you, you will be successful with money. Guaranteed. Absolutely no question about it. I guarantee you, you will be successful with money. All good advice, easier said than done in this time of inflation. It is easier said than done. But here's the other thing. You have a lot more room in your budget for whatever it is that you're trying to do when you're out of debt. All right. Had to get on my high horse. I had to get on my high horse there for a second. All right, let's talk about crypto. Now, Bitcoin is currently trading at $63,000. It is on a corrective movement. It has moved down to about $63,000. As I said, and what we are seeing right now is that Bitcoin is in this big megaphone pattern. And yesterday we were thinking to ourselves, man, I think Bitcoin may actually correct down here to around 61. Ultimately, I think Bitcoin will end up breaking bullish here. But the thing we've got to keep in mind is that Bitcoin is in this big head and shoulders pattern that is forming. If that head and shoulders pattern does go through, then we will likely see Bitcoin drop as low as 51. Is that possible? Yeah. That is actually possible. That would be a 30% drop on Bitcoin. That would be the biggest drop we've seen so far. But to be honest with you, so far this bull market, but to be honest with you, that would actually be really healthy for Bitcoin. Bitcoin has, generally speaking, rallied 193% in the last 184 days. If Bitcoin does drop 30%, that'd be a really, really healthy consolidation. So my target is, at worst, Bitcoin could drop down to 51. I'm not sold that it's going to happen, but there are reasons to believe that it might. Namely, we've got that head and shoulders pattern forming. Crypto Jeb Oscillator rallied up to the highest level that it had ever seen on bullish strength. Bullish momentum flipped, and now the bearish momentum is starting to pick back up. Bullish strength is slamming down to the floor. You can get Crypto Jeb Oscillator by going to luxalgo.com/Jeb. And when we correct down here to 61, we're going to have to see if it holds. 61,000 is a pretty strong level of support. It is where we have tested in just the last few days. We've also tested right back here when we barely rallied above it. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see 51. Right now, I'm expecting 61, maybe retested. But from there, we're not going to try and get too particular about calling the exact bottom. What we're going to do is we're going to be opportunistic. If Bitcoin goes down to 51, then we buy more. If Bitcoin goes down to 61, then we buy more. But you don't deploy the entire cash position at 61. If you've got $10,000 in cash, maybe you put 1,000 in, and let's say you're just investing in Bitcoin for the sake of simplicity, then you maybe put 1,000 of the 10,000 in at 61. Next week, you put another 1,000 in. Then the week after, maybe you put another 1,000 in, and you spread out the investment and you dollar cost average in a more heavy manner when the market is lower. If we drop down to 51, then maybe you put 2,500 in, and you continue to DCA a percentage of the cash position. I would recommend a percentage of the cash position so you're asymptotically approaching zero and there's always cash there. What that basically means, an asymptote, if you'll remember from college math, looks like this. Got a flat level. An asymptote is like this. It moves down towards zero, but it never actually hits zero. If you're investing 10% a week, and then 10% a week, then what happens is that since you're taking a percentage off, you are going to asymptotically approach zero, but you're never actually going to go zero on the cash position. So put maybe 10% of the cash position in every week. The first time, that's going to be 1,000. You know, if you put 10% of 10K in, that's going to be 1K. Now you got 9K. If you put 10% in, then that's going to be $900, right? And then you've got 8,100. And if you put 10% in that, you get 810. So the point is that you're always holding on to some cash so that if the market goes even lower, then you get to dump that in as well. And you're never going to run out of cash if you only put in percentages. You will literally never run out of cash so long as you only put in percentages, unless you put the percentage to 100. So maybe put 5 to 10% of your cash position in every week as we are down here at these lower levels on top of the DCAing that you're already doing. And so if we drop down to 51 or 50, then great. You still got a good bit of cash. You're buying down there, and then you're loading up. And then that's going to be a lot easier to double or triple that money because Bitcoin could very easily go to $150,000 to $200,000 in this bull market. So you're lowering your average cost basis. That's what I want you to do on Bitcoin. Now, similar story on Bitcoin and ETH. We put in a good bit of Ethereum up here around 36. We also put some more in just a few days ago, down around 33. Probably about to put some more in right here around 33 again. If it drops down towards 3,000, I'm going to put more in. I'm trying to build a bigger Ethereum position for ourselves right now. And so we're doing the same thing with a lot of other coins. We'll be buying Solana today. Solana's on a drop down to 169, which is a pretty decent correction from 209, right? It's about a 20% drop. It's not bad. Not bad. We're going to be buying some today. Our DCAing will go through. We're still DCAing into Solana, so that's just the DCA. May put a little bit extra in on top of that. Cardano, we're DCAing into Cardano also. Had a pretty healthy corrective movement. right? We've got this uptrend right here that Cardano is trying to respect. Just quick TA on Cardano. It is in this big rising wedge. So Cardano, if things don't change, could very easily drop down here like 40 cents, backtest 50 cents. If it does, what I'm doing, man, I'm loading up on Cardano at 46 cents. I'm going to buy that. I'm going to buy that and hope and look at the layer 2s on Cardano and see how they are growing. And if they're continuing to grow and Cardano is continuing to pick up speed, even if it's not keeping up with Solana and everybody, I still think that it could rally from $20 billion. It doesn't have to be the same size protocol as Solana right now to have gains. Let's keep that in mind. Solana is already about 4 times larger than Cardano on market capitalization from a market capitalization standpoint, which means that Cardano can 4x just to get to where Solana is right now. So we're looking, it's not an apples to apples comparison because Solana is farther ahead. Cardano very well will likely have a lot more built out on top of it. Cool? Cool. All right. So let's just keep all those things in mind. As we continue to drop here, we're not trying to time the exact bottom. What we are doing is we are continuing to put more and more in every week and continuing our dollar cost averaging. Shadrach Frost just donated $25, said, have lunch on me today, brother. God has blessed you and your family and us through you. Hashtag FinSov, hashtag DCA. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Shadrach Frost. Thank you so much. And Rick4962 donated $50, said, amen. Thank you so much, Rick. I appreciate that donation once again. The fact of the matter is, if you follow the 6 laws of money and you follow the financial sovereignty way, which I'm not going to tell you just yet, but we will be releasing it. If you follow the financial sovereignty way, you will be successful in cryptocurrency, period. Okay? Dalai Mama said, don't know about Blowfin, but Bybit should work. I love both exchanges. Both links are down there in the description box down below if you are interested. You guys seem to like both of them as well. Now, we did have one donation. Brian Murphy donated €2.49, said, Jeb, can you look at Casper, please, man? Sure, let's take a look at Casper. A lot of people have been asking me about Casper recently. Not Asper, Casper. A lot of people have been asking about Casper, CSPR. I believe that's what you were asking for, right? Yes. CSPR. Over here. So market cap, first thing I do, I look at the market capitalization. It's kind of been stagnating here with the same highs for a while, but we've got these higher lows. That's not really exciting to me. To be honest with you, I think there's a lot of projects down around 164 that are going to have more interesting market capitalization charts than this. That was a very interesting price action chart. Goodness gracious, how much inflation happened here? Whoa. Man, okay, $560 million market cap. Price was 18 cents. Do I have that right? Yeah, let's see. The top was 12/2/2021. 12/2/2021. Is it 20 cents? So 20 cents back then got you $600 million in market cap. Right now, the recent high is $600 million in market cap. And that was 4 cents. So it's gone through, do I have my math right here? It's gone through 500% inflation in 3 years. Ugh. I don't like that at all. That's terrible. I'm not sure if that was something to do with the way the token was out. That's strange. That's why I go to market cap, guys. Because the price here is like, oh man, it's so low. It's such a great price. But for it to go back to 20 cents where it was, it'd have to go to $2.5 billion in market cap. Not 500 million, 600 million like it had before. Okay, so that does not excite me one bit, to be totally honest with you. Let's look at this. Okay, oh, sure, why not? The future-proof blockchain. The future is unwritten, but the past is immutable. Welcome to the future-proof blockchain, enabling long-term solutions to real-world challenges. Casper is a powerful public smart contract platform enabling creators, communities, and businesses to connect with integrity and trust. So it's a blockchain. That sounds really good, but that every blockchain ought to do that. There's nothing special about that. Casper's blockchain core strength lies in its adaptability and upgradable foundation, allowing the network to seamlessly evolve in line with the needs of user partners. Juliet, Condor, Peregrine. Okay. So, long-term solution to real world chat. As we look in the future of the Casper network. Okay, so a future-proof blockchain. What does that even mean? Casper's powerful public smart contract platform enabling creators. Future-proof. Okay, I see literally nothing here that is different from any other blockchain. I don't see a single differentiating factor. Am I missing something? Language agnostic, upgradable smart contracts for enterprise applications. Yeah, that's great. 90% of people that read this aren't going to know what that means, which I'm wondering if that's why they wrote it here. Upgradable smart contracting, any blockchain can do that. Enterprise applications, any blockchain should be able to do that. language agnostic. Not sure if they're saying that what they exactly mean about that. Okay, I don't really see the... First of all, the tokenomics make me want to hurl. And second of all, I don't see anything particularly different about the... Yeah, I see absolutely no reason to invest in it at all, to be totally honest with you. But I could be wrong. Maybe I'm missing something. But I see absolutely no reason at all to invest in it. All right, being a member of CT2A, I cannot emphasize enough how much investing in my knowledge has improved my decision making. I strongly urge others to consider joining CT2A for similar benefits. Thank you so much, Shadrack Frost. Yes, guys, if you're interested, you can learn everything that you need to know about technical analysis with the link in the description box down below. All right. Hello, Jeb, Filipina subscriber here. Shout out to the Philippines. Boom, I love it. All right. Let's read a few more chats and then we'll wrap it out, guys. /Jeb, you will be protecting yourself for the duration of this bull market. Now, NordVPN is not going to stop you from getting hacked per se, but what it will do is it will cloak you by shielding your IP address and other sensitive information that is generally put out there online for all to see, and it will stop your information from being out in public far much more than just about anything else would. It is going to keep you, in a sense, invisible as you browse online. We just had somebody that we know personally lose about $23,000 in a hack over on Coinbase. And part of the reason for that, I think, is because they clicked on a link and their information got out there and they were able to get hacked. I'm not totally sure if NordVPN would have helped them with that, but I'm quite confident that it would have, because it would have also stop that information from being put in the hands of the hacker. So make sure that you sign up for NordVPN by going to nordvpn.com/Jeb and sign up for the sake of your security and for the sake of your ability to browse the internet freely and go where you like without the overwatching eye of a government telling you exactly what you can and cannot do. So make sure to sign up for NordVPN with the link in the description box down below. We're about to wrap it out, but I do want to go ahead and read some more chat. Dolly Mama said, got my NordVPN here. Boom. How are you liking it? It's a great project. Hey everyone, let's see. Read a little bit more chat here. Jeb, your thoughts on Kronos pulling a BNB, Staples Center renamed for 25 years, all the sponsors now EVM compatible. Yeah, so Kronos is probably going to be a pretty good project. The thing about Kronos is that it's in the same... Yeah, so let's take a look over here. Boom. Kronos and its market capitalization is nowhere near its all-time high. That is very, very, very exciting. There's a lot of room to run here, up to $22 billion in the all-time high. We actually spent time trading around the $10 billion range, which is what I'm most excited about. Circulating supply is pretty low. It is still ranked number 36. It's on Coinbase, it's on KuCoin, it's on Gate.io. It's got everything that it needs to go into a pretty large rally. Now, if you go on over to the website, this is where things get pretty exciting. You can see everything going on up here. Scale your projects, easy portability, funding, user base. Working on ZK, EVM. Yeah, so pretty excited about Kronos. So definitely consider looking in that project. All right. Fortune favors the brave. That's right. All right, guys, I hope that you guys have enjoyed today's stream. If you have, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We are very excited to see where things are going to go in this bull market. Ensure that you continue investing over the weekend. Look for good entries, but for the most part, guys, dollar cost average, dollar cost average, dollar cost average. Hold on to it for the long run. And also make sure that if there is a big dip and you still believe in the project, that you can consider putting a little bit more in every week, because we are trying to plant seeds right now that we are going to harvest in 6 to 12 months. And when I start saying, hey, I'm selling this coin, then you guys can say, all right, then I will consider doing the same. Please don't just follow me blindly, because that can be a tendency, but please make sure that you're listening to what I'm saying and then consider whether or not that's something that you and your family ought to do as well. If you enjoyed today's stream, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the post notification bell so you won't miss any more uploads. We are going to wrap it out. But before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.